Hey, this is another TVP, another TVP, I did not watch it. I just fast forwarded through it while I was taking care of the kids and then came back and rewound it. So don't think that I've predicted the future. I know nothing except that you win. Oh, looks like you're fast expanding because of some reason. Who knows what? Looks like you saw a forge at the front and you're like, I'm gonna fast expand. I don't know if you said whee or if you said something else. Whee. One thing to note, a lot of times Protoss will open Forge so that they can fast tech and fast expand. And they should be punished for that because it's illegal. It's like against the law to fast tech and fast expand. I don't know if anyone's told you this. Like I said before, this cannon, if you have Marauders, can only protect things at this range. So he can't protect his Wallen from you. And with only sentries and stalkers, he's going to have to waste tons of force fields and still probably not kill any Marauders if you just come to the front and kill his Wallen. So he's playing this like a TVZ or a PVZ, and it doesn't work. So you should punish him for that sort of nonsense. At least force him to constantly warp in gateway units, because the more gas he wastes on sentries and stalkers, the less gas he gets for Immortals and Colossus. Over here in your base, you're just making pure Marine with stim and combat shields and some Vikings. This is really weird. Marine Viking. Who goes Marine Viking? No medevacs, lots of Vikings, very few workers at your main, tons at your natural. This is, I've seen this in all of your fast expand games now. You like to have 12 guys up here and 28 down here, and that's too many. 28 guys aren't mining more than 24 guys would mine. And there's plenty of free patches up here in your main. I think you tend to be afraid to mine out your main because you tend not to take a third base or a fourth base. I don't think I've ever seen you take a fourth base until 40 minutes into the game or something. And so the progression of this is that your first mineral patch at your main, if you're mining your main with 20 guys, will mine out at 14.5 or 15 minutes. That's when your fourth needs to be starting, right? Because you're going to make 72 workers. That's enough for 3 bases. So once you lose a patch in your main, you need to get a new patch somewhere else, and that means a fourth. So you should be taking your fourth around 15 minutes. And you've never even been close to that. And I'm okay if you don't want to do that. I'm just saying if you want to pretend to be a macro player, then that's the timing how to be a macro player. I don't like macro TVP, honestly. I would be happy never taking a second, let alone a fourth. It seems like this is a pretty set pattern though. You like to get 50-ish workers on 2.5 bases and then stick with it for a really long time. And I think you're just going to lose a lot to anyone who does the exact same things as you, except for has a significantly higher income because they're on 3 bases instead of 2. So like right now, you take your third at the same time as you kind of stop mining at your main. You're not really mining on 3 bases at this point. You're mining on, this is a fully mining mineral only. This is a less than half mining second. And this is a slightly more than half mining main. So your total income should be, let's see, 1,250 per base. So 3 base income should be 3,750, and your income is less than 2,000. So you have less than 2 full base income. So you do some drop pinning, drop poking, and it does damage, does more damage than you took. Forces him to make some cannons over here, which aren't going to help anything. And unpowers his upgrades. Now he's got blink, but he doesn't have charge, which is really crucial. And it's just generally a good drop that did well. You're taking gas at... this is questionable. Do you really need more gas? What are you doing that's so gas heavy? Because upgrades are really gas heavy until you get 3-3, but you're working on 3-3 now. And then you're going to have this huge influx of gas with nothing to spend it on except for Vikings and medevacs. But the cost of Vikings and medevacs off of one starport is pretty darn low. I think... So like 220, yeah, it's 225 per minute for Vikings and a little bit more for medevacs. But that's one base. You can fund this off of one base. So the rest is got to be going into ghosts and marauders, I guess. But 3 Tech Lab ghost production would only be 400 and something. Anyway, point is, you got a lot of gas coming in. Unless you're massing ghosts, you don't need it. And I don't know about massing ghosts. I think that's something you do after you've already gotten this huge Viking cloud and giant infantry thing and whatever. Anyway, I think, I don't know. It's hard to give advice about late game TVP because I don't like it. I could certainly tell you how you could have easily won this game if we rewind to 10 minutes. And if you do this in any TVP you ever play, go to 10 minutes and look at his army size and say, yep, I could have killed him. And this will always be true. And like I said, Nick and I have both been 70 to 80% in the High Masters League and in every other league because I go down and play in Diamond sometimes and it works just as well there. And I play below Diamond sometimes, it works just as well there. Every league, you'll be able to win 70 to 80% of your TVPs if you just do this to Momo build. So, 10 minutes, if he doesn't have at least 4,000 bucks worth of dudes or at least 2 Colossus, he's dead. So does he have 2 Colossus? No. Does he have 4,000 bucks worth of dudes? No, he's dead. That's the end of the game. Anyway, back to the 18-minute mark. Looks like you've got a lot more money coming in than him, but again, this is his mistake. You killed 13 workers, but he's Protoss. With Chrono Boost, he can replace 14 workers with 3 Nexuses in, I don't know. Who cares, really? Really frickin' quick is the general point, right? So, 14, divided by 3, It only takes 4 cycles, and a cycle completes in 17 seconds times 0.75, I think. 12 seconds, so times 4. Less than a minute. Less than a minute he should replenish all of the workers you killed. But he doesn't, because he's dumb. So, killing Protoss workers, killing Zerg workers, it only matters if you can kill enough of them. It's kind of like killing pylons, really, because they can be replaced super quickly. So especially once they're on 3 or more bases. If you go up against a Protoss who has like 8 bases, 8 Nexuses, he could replace his entire force of 70 workers in like less than a minute. So killing workers is less of a priority than it is in TVT. And that isn't to say that it isn't awesome in certain scenarios. Like when your opponent is an idiot, it's really, really beneficial to kill workers, right? Because he's not replacing them. So this is awesome. Those workers you killed, that's great. But against a good player, what are those good players? Who's going to replace the workers you killed right away? Killing 14 workers is essentially killing 700 bucks of anything. So killing 7 pylons would be slightly worse because the mining time that you're costing him, again, 40 minerals per minute of lost mining time. You cost him 1 minute of lost mining time, so essentially doubling the value of the damage you did, and that's awesome. Like not quite double, maybe instead of 700, it's like $1,200 worth of damage. So killing workers is good relative to killing anything else in their bases, like it is in terms of damage done versus cost. But it's not, game-endingly awesome. Which is why you'll see a lot of pro games where they do drops everywhere all the time, constant drops, kill 50, 60, 70 workers, and in the end it doesn't matter. Protoss has a bigger army and kills them. it's not that you shouldn't drop, and it's not that you shouldn't kill workers. It's just that you should understand exactly how much damage it does to kill a worker. And essentially, it's $90 worth of damage per worker killed, which is good. Not awesome. So he makes a ton of stalkers and Colossus, but why would he attack you at this point? I have a big army, therefore I should attack. But you're on 200U, so he should get 200U before engaging you. It's very silly for him to have done this now. Love you too, Simon. Just never attack someone when you have $2,000 in the bank and you're not maxed, and doesn't make any sense. Anyway, his army is way smaller than yours. Your Vikings are gonna try and kill his... He's not even fighting. He's not fighting. That's awesome. You only have 7 Vikings. Once those Colossus die, though, he's completely dead. He's already kind of completely dead. I'm not sure what's going on here. It looks like you accidentally told all your troops to walk around in circles. And it didn't matter. Your army is so much bigger than his that it doesn't matter at all what you do. Even if you tell your guys to walk in a weird circle, it's still... there's nothing you can do. He actually took a 4th. So... It looks, by watching this fight, it looks like you are so much better of a macro player than he is that it's just crazy. And yet, so comparing you to your opponent, this is the problem with not benchmarking yourself, is if you play against a dude, and if you kick that dude's ass, you're like, I did great, I kicked that dude's ass. But you got to compare yourself against yourself too, because we played a game earlier, TVT, right? We're at 14 minutes. No, wait, 15 minutes. You had $7,500 of army, right? 15 minutes. You want $7,500 of army because we're comparing yourself to yourself. You have done that well in the past, so you should have done that well this game. How well did you do? Looks like. Wow. Looks like you did. You did. You hit your own benchmark. That's good. I think this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. So at 15 minutes you had like almost $8,000. So a good like army light fast expand, and that's what you did in this game. Like at 10 minutes you have no army. So this is an army light fast expand. Benchmark for an army light fast expand is 9K. And that's an army light fast expand that is at least has enough army to survive at 10 minutes, like a $1,800 army, which is basically what you did. So bench for that is 9K. You had 8K, so you did great. But there are even army lighterer fast expands that can get an even bigger army super early. Like this is 13 minutes, 10K. More army than you had at 15 minutes, but you can get it at 10K, 13 minutes if you go CC X2 first. So I called it silly 3OC because you would just die to anything. Point is, the benchmarks are all dependent on how safe you want to be. So in this case, you chose to not be super safe at 10 minutes, which means that you get a bigger army at 15 minutes. If you'd been safer at 10 minutes, you'd have a smaller army at 15 minutes. If you'd been less safe at 10 minutes, you have a bigger army at 10 minutes. Anyway, point is to benchmark yourself against various things. Say, hey, this is what I did. This is how big my army should be. How big was my army? And your army was the right size, I think. I think you did great. Question is, why was his army so damn small? So 15 minutes, he's got $1,000 more army than you. You kill a couple of workers, but not really game-endingly tragic numbers of workers. And then you continue to produce army at a reasonable rate. You've got the same income as him, not more income than him. You guys are still even on income, still even on income, still even on income, still even on income. Still even on income. And then many minutes later, having mined exactly the same amount as him for the intervening time period, suddenly you're 2K up. So you went up by 3K over him in production in this time. So he's got 5, 6, 7, 8, and you've got 6, 7.5. He's got a bigger army than you, and this is why in TVP there's this passivity rule. Like, his army is bigger than yours right now, and he's still got a free 30, 40 supply, and you're basically maxed. Tricksy stuff. Anyway, he attacks before his upgrades are done, so he's 1-1 against your 3-3. 1-1-2. Yeah, honestly, if he just waited for 200 U, this would be a very different story. Good job, though. You outproduced him, kicked his butt.